Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the greatest podcast on YouTube, the greatest podcast to go over playoffs.
Hey, pipe up, Rich.
I am your host, TJ Riddell. And boy, do we have a good show for y'all today. We're going to go over a recap of the wild card. We're going to go over the divisional round. Going to leave it to Kirk. Let's get it! That's how we do it. Coach Prime, baby. Shout out to Coach Prime. Now, let me tell y'all something. I am super excited about this podcast. And I'm sorry I had to wait this long to even talk about the divisional round. Okay? First of all, I went 4-2. And for the Cowboys fans that know I picked against the Cowboys, I am sorry. I will talk about that here in a little bit. And Booby Miles actually went 5-1. So he beat me in the wild card. So I will get his predictions later on today, and I'll post it on the Twitter and also the Facebook of the PMP. Woo! All right. I'm so out of shape, guys. I'm so sorry that y'all had to see all that. But let's get into it. We're not here to talk about news. We're here to talk about one of the greatest spectacles on earth, the NFL playoffs. And I will say this. I enjoyed last week. This was probably the first time in a long time that I fairly enjoyed Wildcard Weekend. And, man, what a playoff. And first of all, Jaguars fans, y'all dodged a bullet. I swear, y'all dodged a bullet, and I'm super happy that y'all won that game, even though I picked against y'all. And boy, y'all ought to be happy and paying the man Waffle House. That was some spectacular shit. I'll admit, I went to the bar thinking, man, this game's already fucking over with. They're down by 20. There's just no way of coming back, you know. But then Trevor Lawrence bounced back and won the game. But let's not talk about the Jags and Chargers. Let's talk about the 49ers and Seahawks first, okay? This was a great first half, as I thought it would. I picked the 49ers. Booby picked the 49ers. To play onto the divisional round. Brock Purdy, what can we say? He's played very well in his first 6 games of his NFL career, you know. But it was back and forth up until the third quarter. Brock Purdy ran it in for a touchdown, and then all hell went breaking loose when the 49ers scored up to 41, and Seattle didn't score up until the very end with Geno Smith throwing a 3-yard touchdown pass to DK Metcalf, and that would leave the 49ers to win 41-23. Me and Booby said 17. They won by 18, so that's fairly accurate. I thought that this game would be a very, very good start for both teams, but the 49ers would pull away. But let's read the stats for the quarterbacks. For young man, Brock Purdy, 18 for 30, 332 passing yards, and 3 touchdowns. That's not bad, you know. He's had a terrific start of his NFL career, you know. And he's looking more and more like Joe Montana each and every game. I know that's a stretch, but man, he's having a hell of a start. And then Geno Smith, 25 for 35, 253 passing yards, 2 touchdowns, and he did throw an interception, and he did get stripped in this game. Kenneth Walker III, 15 carries, 63 yards, 1 touchdown, and Christian McCaffrey, 15 carries, 119 yards. He had an explosive 66-yard run. It was phenomenal. And then DK Metcalf had a game, 10 receptions, 136 yards, 2 touchdowns. Deebo Samuel, 6 receptions, 133 yards, 1 touchdown. I mean, this game was good up until the late stages of the third quarter. I feel like Seattle needs to keep Geno Smith, and he proved himself this year. He proved that he could play, and he learned a lot from a lot of guys, and I have to say this. I am very proud of Geno Smith overcoming adversity and overcoming the thought of being a career backup. He proved to us that he can play as a starter, and he did very well against a very tough San Francisco defense. And I look forward to seeing what San Francisco has next week as they play either against the Bucs or the Cowboys, which we'll go over that here in a little bit. But for Seattle, they just need to go in the offseason, draft a couple offensive line. They need to rebuild their defense. Their defense is fucking horrifying in the second half. First half, they played great. Second half, they were terrible. I mean, absolutely god-awful, But I will say this about Brock Purdy. Yeah, he's had 6 great games so far, And, I mean, this kid's unbelievable, right? But I will tell you this. He has not played a top-tier defense yet. He's about to play against a top-tier defense, possibly top 3 in the NFL. And yeah, he's got a lot of weapons. Brandon Ayuk, Deebo Samuel, but he is a smart quarterback. I said it from when he played at Iowa State that he was a good quarterback. He just makes silly mistakes when he gets flustered. So we'll go over the divisional round here in a little bit. But this was a great game for Brock Purdy and the 49ers. Good win for those 2 teams. And moving on to the next game. The game that I was actually talking about before we started, the 49ers and the Seahawks. Now, this game, I got wrong. I picked the Chargers over the Duval Thundercats, is what I like to call them. But Brandon Staley has probably the worst play calling skills I've ever seen as a head coach. They were up 27-0 in the second quarter at 4:25. Jacksonville didn't get its first points until 24 seconds into the half. 24 seconds before halftime, where they were down by 20. And then, come to think about it, the Chargers' defense was electric that night, no pun intended, in the first half. Four interceptions on Trevor Lawrence, And T-Law ended up throwing a touchdown right before the half to make it 1-4, okay? So then all of a sudden, Trevor Lawrence throws it to Marvin Jones for a beautiful 6-yard touchdown pass, by the way. And then Los Angeles drives down the field, and they can't get nothing going on offense, apparently, because they drive down the field, they kick a 50-yard field goal to make it 30-14. At this point, everybody is falling asleep. I've seen so many TikToks and so many Instagram posts of these people who have betted on the Jaguars fall asleep because they lost $1,200 in this game. I would too. I'll be honest with you. I would fall asleep as well if I saw the score and I was like, fuck, well, there goes my $1,200. And then Zay Jones catches a tremendous 39-yard touchdown pass. And Trevor Lawrence is starting to look like T-Law again. And I have to remind y'all, Trevor Lawrence is undefeated on Saturdays. This is where he makes his magic, okay? So that's a 39-yard touchdown pass to Zay Jones from T-Law. They went for 2. It failed. They're down by 10 now. Los Angeles can't get nothing going on offense. Fourth quarter. Christian Kirk, 9-yard touchdown pass from Trevor Lawrence. And then Lawrence gets in for 2. Oh, shit. We have a fucking ball game, folks. It's 30-28. And, of course, Brandon Staley doesn't know how to coach. Jacksonville drives down the field to make it a 36-yard field goal for Riley Patterson. Clock goes out. Jags win at home, 31-30. First of all, how in the blue fuck do you blow a 27-point lead? This is worse than the Atlanta Falcons Super Bowl blown lead, you know? Worse than Baylor's blown lead against Oklahoma. This is bad, Chargers fans. If y'all haven't had it bad enough, this is bad. You know? Y'all were up 27-0, dog. But I hate to say this, but I don't hate to say this, but I was wrong about the Duval Thundercats. I really do. And that just proves to me that I need to do a little bit better research on the Jaguars because they proved me wrong again. They proved me wrong against the Cowboys. They proved me wrong against the Chargers. You know, this is probably the most dangerous team in the AFC right now. When T-Law goes off, everybody goes off. Zay Jones, Evan Ingram, Travis Etienne, all the players on that offense go off. And then that Jacksonville defense turns into Saxonville. So you tell me why I wouldn't go for the Jacksonville Jaguars in the late stages. But we'll move on to that. Let's talk about the stats. Justin Herbert, 25 for 43, 273 passing yards, 1 touchdown. 1 fucking touchdown from Justin Herbert in this game. He should have had 2 or 3 in this game. But his receivers were dropping passes. It just did not look good. And the Duval Thundercat defense actually played really well in the second half. Then Austin Eckler, 13 carries, 35 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Honestly, I thought he had more yards than that. This is actually my first time seeing the stats. And then Gerald Everett had a tremendous game. 6 receptions, 109 receiving yards, and 1 touchdown. Now we switch it over to T-Law. Trevor Lawrence. In the first half, I said this on Facebook and Twitter. First half was Trevor Lawrence, where he threw 4 interceptions and 1 touchdown and had all those incompletions, inconsistent throws. Second half was T-Law. Now, let's go over T-Law's stats. 28 for 47, 288 passing yards, 4 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. So where did the 30 touchdowns come from? Second half. I mean, Trevor Lawrence is a whole different animal when he gets into T-Law mode, and he went T-Law on the Chargers, and the Chargers paid the price. Travis Etienne, 20 carries, 109 rushing yards, no touchdowns for him. But Evan Ingram, 7 receptions, 93 yards, and 1 touchdown. So pretty much matching Gerald Everett in some form or fashion. Doug Peterson deserves Coach of the Year. Why does he deserve Coach of the Year? Last year they had a coaching change, which it was an abusive coaching. It was a toxic locker room with Coach Urban Meyer. Shad Khan fires him for the allegations going on, and Shad Khan is a businessman at the end of the day, and he doesn't want his reputation being fucked with, you know? So then they go into the offseason, they hire Doug Peterson, Dougie Pete, what I like to call him. I think he's a phenomenal coach, for one. For two, he is proven that he could coach on the NFL level. And then they get first overall this season. The Jaguars get first overall this season. And I looked at Caleb and I said, hey, we got to watch out for Jacksonville. They may not make it to the playoffs. They may be a 7 or 8 win team, but we got to watch out for them. Caleb said the same thing. So, we get into the first half of the season, we count them out. Because, good God, what the hell happened? That Dallas Cowboys win was a spark, and they made it into the playoffs as divisional champions. I could not believe it. So then they play against the Chargers. Okay, this is where we got to say goodbye to the Jags and hand them a bouquet, and hopefully they grow as a better team next season. Nope. They came out in the second half with comeback fashion and won the game against a very good Chargers team with a frustrated Joey Bosa, which I absolutely agree with him, man. I agree with him. But I will say this right now. If Doug Peterson isn't Coach of the Year by the end of the season, and if it happens to be like Andy Reid or somebody else, then the NFL is biased and it's bullshit, because Doug Peterson got a team that was the first overall pick, a team that wasn't even close to being good last season, got the free agents that they needed, Christian Kirk and all these other tremendous players that wouldn't actually be a starter on the Cowboys or on the Chiefs or anybody, and turned their season around and ended up winning the division, ended up beating somebody in the wild card. And if they even happen to win this week, today, actually, later on today, they happen to win today, and they go into the AFC Championship, which, by the way, this will be the 6th consecutive year that the Chiefs and the Jaguars are involved in the AFC Championship. Think about that. Think about Doug Peterson's resume in his first year with Jacksonville. Turned this franchise around. Got the players that Trevor Lawrence needed to be successful. I mean, look at his regular season stats. He threw 4,113 passing yards, 25 touchdowns, 8 interceptions. QBR was a 54.7, but that's still a hell of a lot better than last season. You know, and Trevor Lawrence is actually playing good football. Yeah, he didn't play good in the first half, but he turned it into fucking T-Law in the second half. So give Jacksonville credit. Give Doug Peterson credit for what he has done. And I absolutely think he deserves to be Coach of the Year. If he's not the NFL Coach of the Year, there is a travesty going on in the NFL polling. It is biased bullshit if he doesn't end up being Coach of the Year. If not him, Kyle Shanahan. That's all I got to say about Coach of the Year. But good win for the Jaguars, man. My first wrong answer of the season or of the playoff season. Now we get into this game right here. It's a Sunday night or Sunday game where the Miami Dolphins and one of my favorite coaches so far this season, Mike McDaniels, travels out to Buffalo where it's cold as shit, and they take on the Buffalo Bills. Damar Hamlin walking around the facility, and it's a blessing to see him walking around. But we're here to talk about the recap of the wild card playoff game between the Miami Dolphins and the Buffalo Bills, and let's get into it. So Miami was a heavily underdog team, and first and second quarter at around 12:46, yeah, they looked like they were going to get gun smoked, right? So after Tyler Bass's 33-yard field goal, James Cook's 12-yard run, and Dawson Knox's 65-yard reception, it is 17-0. Then Miami starts slowly coming back with field goals. Jason Sanders, 40-yard field goal. Jason Sanders, 48-yard field goal. And then another Jason Sanders, 37-yard field goal to make it 17-9. Okay? And then with 33 seconds left, Miami makes it exciting. Mike Gesicki with a 7-yard reception from Skylar Thompson for a touchdown, and then Skylar Thompson throws it in for a 2-point conversion to make it 17-17 to Tyreek Hill and makes it 17-17. Then Buffalo drives down the field right before the end of the half, makes it 20-17. What a fucking game so far, you know. But Josh Allen was struggling in this game. And in the third quarter, Miami takes the lead 24-20 with a Zach Seiler 5-yard fumble recovery for a touchdown. And Cole Beasley, who signed with the Buffalo Bills before the playoffs started, he gets a 6-yard reception to score for the Buffalo Bills, 27-24. And then Gabe Davis gets a 23-yard reception from Josh Allen to make it 34-24. And then Jeff Wilson in the fourth quarter with 10:53 left. Jeff Wilson runs it in 34-31. Now, Miami loses 34-31. It was a spectacular game. It was a thriller. I thought Skylar Thompson was kind of the weak link of the Miami loss. I think if Tua was in, this would have been a whole different story. This would have been a much better game, in my opinion. But Josh Allen really struggled in this game against that Miami defense. And he almost got into it with Christian Wilkins, which I wouldn't get into it with Christian Wilkins. He's a fucking big motherfucker. But Skylar Thompson, 18 for 45, 220 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions. Josh Allen, 23 for 39, 352 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions. And he did get stripped quite a bit in this game. So watch out for Josh Allen and Buffalo heading into next week. Jeff Wilson, 10 carries, 23 yards, 1 touchdown. Devin Singletary, 10 carries, 48 yards. Stephon Diggs versus Tyreek Hill. This is a matchup that I've been wanting to see this year, and they have both exceeded expectations in this matchup. Tyreek Hill, 7 receptions, 69 yards. Stephon Diggs, 7 receptions, 114 yards. Now, I'm worried about Buffalo. And offensively, I am worried about them because you see Josh Allen throwing 2 interceptions. He's a phenomenal athlete, okay? He's a phenomenal quarterback. But 2 interceptions, and how many forced fumbles did the Dolphins commit? Okay. But yeah, how many fumbles did Josh Allen and that one did Josh Allen commit? So he lost 1 fumble out of 3. And then Nyheim Hines fumbled the ball once. He didn't lose it, but 4 fucking fumbles. 4 fumbles lost. Or not lost, but damn near lost. They lost 1, and that was a fumble recovery for a touchdown. Buffalo's got to get a grip if they want to be considered the best team in the AFC and a playoff or a Super Bowl contender, because that was honestly a dog shit performance. And once Miami started coming along, but I can't blame the defense because they played their tails off. It is Josh Allen in that offense that did not perform well to me. So good win for the Buffalo Bills. That makes me 2-1, and that makes Booby 3-0. All right, here we go. We got our next game, which is a rematch, and pretty historic win for New York. This is their first playoff win in 11 seasons, in 11 years, and this is a great win for Brian Dabble. First year head coach for the Giants. And then Daniel Jones is playing at a very high level right now. So the Giants, they were up 14-7 in the first quarter, scoring 14 unanswered points. And then right before the end of the half, KJ Osborne gets a 9-yard reception from Kirk Cousins, making it 17-14 at the half. And then Daniel Bellinger gets a 9-yard reception from Daniel Jones to make it 24-14. Irv Smith gets a 3-yard reception from Kirk Cousins, making it 24-21. Then Greg Joseph ties the game at 24-24. Then Saquon Barkley, he had a terrific game, getting a 2-yard touchdown run against the Vikings, and they win 31-24. This was a great game for both parties. I will say that right now. It was a great game. And Daniel Jones, 24 for 35, 301 passing yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. His QBR was at 81.2, and his rating was 114.1. He was sacked 3 times in this game, but that's expected because that front line for Minnesota is tough. But what surprises me is the amount of carries that Saquon had. 9 carries, 53 yards, but he had 2 touchdowns. I would want to give Saquon the ball more if I'm New York, but I mean, every time Saquon got the ball, he would average 6 yards a carry, I would definitely give him the ball more, but Daniel Jones can run the ball too. 17 carries, 78 yards, averaging over 4.5 yards. But look at this. Isaiah Hodgins came into play. 8 receptions, 105 receiving yards, 1 touchdown, and targeted 9 out of 8 times. So he caught 8 out of 9 targets, so that's very good for Isaiah Hodgins. Darius Slayton, 4 receptions, 88 yards, and 8 targets for him. I mean, there were some plays where he couldn't catch it or he dropped it, for Darius Slayton. And then Saquon on the receiving end, 5 receptions, 56 yards, and 6 targets. So he caught the ball just about every time he got the ball around him too. So Richie James, 4 receptions, 31 yards, and targeted 6 times. Daniel Bellinger caught every pass that he was thrown at. 2 receptions, 17 yards, 2 targets with a touchdown. And then Lawrence Cager caught the ball 1 out of 2 times for 4 yards. So good job by the Giants offense. But Kirk Cousins had a really good game here. 31 for 39, 273 passing yards, averaged out to 7 yards a pop, and threw 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. His QBR was at 85.2 with 112.9 rating. What was controversial was the 4th down play where he threw it, and it was a 3-yard fucking pass. That was questionable. What the fuck were you thinking, Kirk? Were you thinking about wearing the next chain? I don't know what you were thinking. Come on, Kirk. But Dalvin Cook, 15 carries, 60 yards, no touchdown. They couldn't get him in the end zone. But TJ Hawkinson, 10 receptions, 129 receiving yards with 11 targets. So, wow. He caught the ball just about every time. Adam Thielen, 3 receptions, 50 yards with 4 targets. Justin Jefferson, he was targeted 9 times and caught the ball 7 times, but 47 yards. That Giants defense held him to 47 yards. So great job holding Justin Jefferson. I think that's one of the biggest keys to beating the Vikings is to hold Justin Jefferson. KJ Osborne, 2 receptions, 20 yards with 1 touchdown. Johnny Mundt, 1 reception for 12. Dalvin Cook, 6 receptions for 10. Wow. I mean, this team is something else right now. And then Jalen Reagor fumbled the ball once, but Chris Boyd recovered a ball against the Giants. So good win for the G-Men. It was great to see them win their first game in over 11 or in 11 years. I think they're going to have a fantastic matchup against the Philadelphia Eagles this week. So who wins out of Baltimore and Cincinnati? So this game, it started off ugly. Evan McPherson kicks a 39-yard field goal to make it 3-0 in the first quarter. Second quarter, Jamar Chase catches a 7-yard reception for a touchdown thrown by Joe Burrow, but the PAT was missed by Evan McPherson. That's a shocker. Evan McPherson rarely misses a field goal. Just like Justin Tucker, but J.K. Dobbins gets a 2-yard reception for a touchdown against Tyler Huntley. And right before the end of the half, Justin Tucker kicks a field goal, makes a 22-yard field goal to make it 10-9. All right. And then we get Joe Burrow ringing it in for a touchdown, making it 15-10. But they'll go for 2, and he throws it to T. Higgins for a 2-point conversion, making it 17-10. Then Tyler Huntley throws a 41-yard pass to DeMarcus Robinson, making it 17-17. And then the Ravens drive down the field, and Tyler Huntley's trying to dive in, and they fucking knock the ball out, and Sam Hubbard runs it the other way, 98 yards for a fucking touchdown. Makes it 24-17. Nobody scores right after that, and the Cincinnati Bengals move on. Wow. I mean, the Bengals offense couldn't really get anything going in the second half. Huntley, I'm not putting any blame on him, but I will say this. Lamar Jackson would have helped this game. Lamar Jackson would have won the game for Baltimore. And they are fucking things up with Lamar right now. Tyler Huntley, 17 for 29, 226 Passing yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. Joe Burrow, 23 for 32, 209, 1 touchdown. J.K. Dobbins, 13 carries, 62 yards. Joe Mixon, 11 carries, 39 yards. Okay, first of all, you got 2 good running backs here. J.K. Dobbins, Joe Mixon. I think these 2 deserve more than 13 and 11 carries. Give them the ball more. For God's sakes, what are you doing? And then Mark Andrews, 5 receptions, 73 yards. Jamar Chase, 9 receptions, 84 yards, 1 touchdown. Good game for him. I'm scared for Cincinnati too. And they got to play against Buffalo at Buffalo. So this will be an interesting matchup, I think. I'm not as appealed to that game as I was in the regular season, mainly because of the fact that they had sloppy performances in the playoffs. And yeah, I didn't think they played well. I think they both played sloppy. Hopefully, we have a banger of a game this week. So tomorrow, hopefully, the Bengals and the Bills actually play well. And honestly, I think it will be a good game, but I'll give my thoughts here in a little bit. Last game. This is where Booby wins because I picked wrong. And I deserve a lot of ridicule by my fans and by everybody that knows me as a Cowboys fan. Okay? I did not have the confidence for the Cowboys to walk into Raymond James Stadium to take on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Why wouldn't you have confidence for a 12-5 team going into a 8-9 team? Well, here's my realistic thought. Inconsistency. Dallas has a sickness called inconsistency, and it's a big sickness. It's a big fucking problem for the Cowboys. And I was part of the people that doubted them. There was a lot of people that didn't doubt them. And honestly, I regret my decision for not picking my Cowboys, And I thought Tom Brady was going to throw all over our secondary. I thought Tampa Bay was going to use the run more. Well, that didn't happen. My fucking Cowboys came in and proved me wrong, and they fucking dominated Tom Brady and the Buccaneers. I couldn't be more proud of my Cowboys the way they dominated Tampa Bay and Tom Brady. Let me give you some play-by-play. Dalton Schultz gets a 22-yard reception from Dak Prescott, scores a touchdown, but Brett Maher misses his first field goal. Okay, that's fine. 6-0. All right, Dak Prescott runs it in for 1 touchdown. Fuck yeah, 12-0. We're going to get this extra point, right? No, we didn't get that extra point. So make it 12-0. Okay, we're still up by 12. Right before the end of the half, Dalton Schultz gets an 11-yard reception from Dak Prescott. Boom, 18-0. We're going to get this extra point, right? Right? No. Brett Maher missed again. Okay, this is where I'm like, just run the goddamn 2-point conversions, okay? And then third quarter, Michael Gallup at 10:04 gets a 2-yard reception for a touchdown thrown by Dak Prescott. This is where I'm like, okay, get a 2-point conversion here, put in the wing T, have Zeke as fullback, have TP as the tailback, and let's run it in. Let's go. Right 40 trap, on go, ready to break, right? No, we send out fucking Brett Maher one last time, and he fucking misses it again. I don't understand that. He had the worst game as a place kicker that I have ever seen in my entire life. 4 missed field goals. Is it raining? Shit. Well, anyway. So, Julio Jones gets a 30-yard reception, makes it 24-6. 2-point conversion fails. And Tom Brady's pissed off still. Then Dak Prescott throws a beautiful 18-yard touchdown. And that was a 4th down, by the way. We went for it. So I was like, if we're going to go for it here, make it worthwhile. And Dak throws a spectacular throw. And Brett Maher makes the field goal. Yay! Makes it 31-6. And then 2:04 left. Tom Brady throws it to Cameron Brate, 8-yard touchdown. And throws a 2-point conversion to Mike Evans to make it 31-14. And that is the final. The Cowboys beat the fuck out of Brady and the Bucs. 31-14. Now, the score doesn't indicate that they beat the fuck out of the Bucs, but they beat the shit out of Tampa Bay. And I was impressed. I was happy. I was more happy at the fact that my Cowboys proved me wrong than anything. And now I'm confident again. I'm very confident in my Cowboys. Dak Prescott, 25 for 33, 305 with 4 touchdowns. Tom Brady, 35 for 66. Okay. First of all, that's why Brian Leftwich is gone, not Todd Bowles, because Byron Leftwich is the play caller. 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. Tony Pollard, 15 carries, 77 yards. Ron White or Rashad White, 7 carries, 41 yards. Dalton Schultz, 7 receptions, 95 yards, 2 touchdowns. Chris Godwin, 10 receptions, 85 yards. How about them fucking Cowboys, baby? How about them? How about them Cowboys? This is why I wanted to come on here, folks, because I got proved wrong. Yes, I was wrong about my Cowboys. But this is what us Cowboy fans want out of the Dallas Cowboys. Pure dominance on both sides of the ball. Consistently balanced between passing and throwing. This is what Dallas needed. Okay? So, for Tampa, I don't know if they're going to have Tom Brady back. I'm not so sure if he's going to retire. I think he might be going to Las Vegas. I don't give a fuck about that. What I give a fuck about is Dallas going into San Francisco, going into Candlestick, and playing very well. That's my only concern. Can we stay consistent? Can we stay consistent and play the level that we just played against Tampa Bay? Yeah, we played against Tampa Bay. They have one of the worst defenses this season. Injuries and whatnot. And Brady hadn't played his best game. That's fine. Throw your fucking hate on me. Spew it out. I don't give a shit. Okay? And I did say Tampa was going to score 14 points. I did have them with a 14-point cushion. But here's the thing. I don't give a fuck about my prediction. I give a fuck about my Cowboys winning. I'm happy they won. I'm happy they proved me wrong. And now I am confident about my Dallas Cowboys going into Candlestick Park. And I'll discuss that here in a little bit. But that concludes the wild card portion of this podcast. But now we got to talk about today's games at 3:30 on NBC. We got the Jacksonville the Duval. I totally fucked that up. Duval Thundercats, the Jacksonville Jaguars, taking on the Red Kingdom, the KC, Kansas City Chiefs. Doug Peterson and Andy Reid face off again as the Jacksonville Jaguars visit Kansas City for the playoffs in the divisional round. So here's a weird trend here. Doug Peterson got to know Andy Reid as a backup quarterback in Green Bay, then as his starter in Philadelphia, before coaching underneath him in Philadelphia and helping him build the Kansas City Chiefs into the juggernaut they are today. Doug Peterson ends up being the head coach for Philadelphia, goes off to win the Super Bowl. Andy Reid goes off to Kansas City, builds and rebuilds KC, ends up being a Super Bowl contender pretty much every year now. And I got to say, this matchup may look one-sided here, but I'm gonna say this right now. I didn't believe the hype last week for Jacksonville. I really didn't. But they are on a fucking rampage right now. They are on a fucking 5-game win streak right now. So is Kansas City. Kansas City is on a streak right now of their own. But the Duval magic that's going on right now in Jacksonville is fucking spectacular. Doug Peterson has done a fucking good job over in Jacksonville. But it's Kansas City. It's hard to pick against Kansas City at home. I'm going to have to go with Kansas City by 10 here. Look, listen. I know I picked against the Jaguars last week, and that was against the Chargers, but that's the Chargers. This is a whole different entity of a football team known as the Kansas City Chiefs, okay? I really do think that KC is a spectacular football team, and they will go to the AFC Championship to take on either the Bengals or the Buffalo Bills. So give me Kansas City by 10. Next game coming up is the third game between the New York Giants taking on the Philadelphia Eagles. Eagles are 8-point favorites on the spread, minus 8 points on the spread. And they are pretty much 80% favorites as far as ESPN analytics go. Listen, so New York, the last game they played, New York didn't have their starters in. Philadelphia did. And Philadelphia did not do well. Okay? And with Avonte Maddox out, this is going to open up more for the Giants' pass game. The Giants are kind of on and off about their win-losses. But if you look at the trend here, they lost to Minnesota. They beat Minnesota. You know, and they barely lost to Philadelphia. So, call me crazy, but I sense something here. I sense a TCU Michigan vibe. I sense a Texas A&M LSU vibe here. Give me the New York Giants over the Philadelphia Eagles by 7. I got the G-Men by 7, and they will advance to the AFC Championship. Brian Daboll's first year has been incredible. Nick Sirianni doing a great job for Philadelphia, but after seeing that last game between the Giants and the Eagles, I just don't have the confidence for Nick Sirianni in that Philadelphia Eagles offense. I will say this. They had a phenomenal season, and I think they're going to have even better luck next season, but I think the luck's run out for Philadelphia this week. I got the G-Men by 7 here. Well, last NFC game. Who's going to meet the Giants in the NFC Championship for me? Well, this is a game between the Dallas Cowboys and the San Francisco 49ers. We haven't seen this much hype around the 49ers and the Cowboys since the 90s, you know. And last season was kind of like that, but at the same time, the Cowboys, like I said, were inconsistent. And that was a wild card game. Now the Cowboys have momentum on their side. The 49ers have momentum on their side. This is like when Montana or really Steve Young and Aikman played in the 90s, I have always dreamed of the rivalry bouncing back. But in the early parts of my years, the Cowboys and the 49ers were not that good. In the early 2010s, the 49ers and the Cowboys really never met in the playoffs. And last season, I was shedding a tear, but not for any good reason. The 49ers just flat out beat the fuck out of us at our own house. So, looks like Dallas is favored by ESPN with a 54% chance of winning. I don't see the spread on here for some reason, but well, it looks like San Francisco is the -4 point favorite to win by the spread, but I'm going to tell you this right now. Yeah, San Francisco's defense is really good, balanced wise, but they give up 104 yards a game according to the rush yards allowed. Pass yards allowed, 253. You cannot give up any pass yards to Dallas or rush yards against Dallas. Why don't you want to do that defensively? Dallas can hurt you in the run as much as they can hurt you in the pass. They got Tony Pollard and Ezekiel Elliott. Now let's look over on the pass yards allowed for Dallas and rush yards allowed. Now the rush yards, I'm not worried about. It's the passing I'm worried about. So, and we got some key injuries for Dallas, We got Kyron Curse, who's questionable right now. So it's going to be hard for Dallas to cover these wide receivers. Brandon Ayuk, Deebo Samuel, and also Christian McCaffrey, George Kittle. This is where I kind of look at it this way. Brock Purdy's first actual defense that he's playing against is the Dallas Cowboys. Okay? Last season, Jimmy G shredded us. I'm going to say that right now. He shredded us. But I'm going to look at the key for both teams. Dak Prescott for Dallas, Brock Purdy for San Francisco. Now, why Dakota Prescott, TJ? The inconsistent play. And the offense vibes with Dak Prescott. And if you don't believe me, check out when Cooper Rush comes in. The offense goes with the flow with Cooper Rush. My goodness, my nose itches. They vibe with Dak Prescott too. They go with the flow of how Dak's playing the game. If he's not doing well, the offense doesn't do well. If he's doing fantastic like last week, they are fucking skyrocket top 5 team. And for San Francisco, you got Brock Purdy. Yeah, he's played excellent football, But take a look at the teams that he played against. Seattle, Washington, Las Vegas, Tampa Bay, Arizona, and Seattle again. These defenses are not that good, okay? Probably the best one out of the whole bunch is either Washington or Vegas. And Vegas almost beat them. So, what am I saying here? I think Brock Purdy's going to get flustered in this game. I think Brock Purdy is going to make mistakes. Give me the Dallas Cowboys by 3. I think this is going to be a low-scoring, fantastic defensive battle, and it'll bring back the rivalry that we all love and crave. San Francisco versus Dallas, Dallas versus San Francisco. This is going to be a 1990s game. 1990s NFC Championship vibe. I am super excited about this fucking game tomorrow. So, Dallas, you're going to the NFC Championship, in my opinion. And I'm not saying it because I'm a Cowboys fan. I'm saying it with pure confidence that Dallas is going to the NFC Championship to take on the New York Giants. And I think that'll be a fantastic matchup. But you got to get past San Francisco, and you got to stay consistent. If you're not consistent, you're not going to win the game. If Dak Prescott throws 2 interceptions, Dallas loses. You know, and if Zeke's not getting the ball and he's not producing, and we're not giving the ball to TP, they lose the game. Because the 49ers defense, they are not one of those low-tier teams either. They are probably my favorite to win the Super Bowl, but with the way Dallas played, and if they can stay consistent like that, Dallas has a very good shot at going to the Super Bowl. I'm not saying that they are. I'm just saying they have a good shot. So give me Dallas by 3. I think it'll be like a 23-20 win or maybe a 27-24 win for Dallas. Last game before we log off here, we got the Cincinnati Bengals taking on the Buffalo Bills, a game in Week 16 that we didn't get the chance to watch because of the fact that Damar Hamlin got injured in that horrifying injury. But Cincinnati feels a little bit disrespected because everybody's writing them off. And honestly, they should feel disrespected. They need to play like that against Buffalo at Orchard Park. You know, and this was a game that I was really kind of concerned about for both teams because both defenses played great, but the offenses were mid, you know. Buffalo with turnovers, Cincinnati not producing first downs. I mean, and it was to teams that were inferior, you know, to those two teams. So I think both teams are going to play great football in this game. But I just don't know. But I will say this. I think Cincinnati is going to win the game. I think Cincinnati is going to win this game. And they're going to win with smart play calling. And they're just going to expose that Buffalo defense. And I think that Josh Allen's going to struggle again. I think playoff Joe Burrow is the most dangerous quarterback heading into the playoffs. And I got Joe Burrow and the Bengals I got them by 10. It'll be a 28 or 38-28 victory for the Cincinnati Bengals. I just don't see how the Bills defense is going to be able to hold those receivers. Tyler Boyd, Jamar Chase, and then you got Joe Mixon in the mix. No pun intended, but I just think that Cincinnati's defense is a lot better than last season, and they are playing at a very high level right now. So they didn't last week, but they're playing very well. And they played against the team that they played against the week before, so I'm giving Cincinnati the edge. And that concludes this podcast. Now, I'm excited about these games. I am honestly thinking I might be wrong on quite a few. But man, I am super excited about this playoff round. I think it's going to be a fantastic and a very exciting weekend of football. I'll be watching the Jacksonville Jaguars later on today as they take on the Chiefs, and then I'll watch the Giants and the Eagles. I think that all these games are going to be very good, and I can't wait to see if I'm correct or if I'm a failure again this week. So thank you, everybody that tuned in, and thank you for the future viewers that are going to be tuning in to this podcast. I want to make sure I'm putting out good product for you guys. I want to make sure that y'all like my shit. And also, when I bring on guests like K-Dub, Booby Miles, or even Eric Martin, if he gets to come on every once in a while. I know he's a very busy man, but I just want to thank you all for watching and supporting the PMP. I know there's some hack jobs and all that shit that want to try to ruin the PMP's reputation and all that, but you know what? We don't care about all the hate, so y'all can say what y'all want, haters. But for those that actually support us, thank you very much for tuning in. And we are the best podcast in all of NFL talks, all of college football talks. And we are the cream of the crop of podcasting on YouTube. I am TJ Riddell, and we are the PMP. Goodbye. Good night. Bang. All my haters mad, but I don't give a fuck. All my haters mad, but I don't give a fuck. Doing something different, and I had to switch it up. Turned up in my section, every night we live it up. All my haters mad, but I don't give a fuck. All my haters mad, but I don't give a fuck. My chopper hit, my chopper hit, my 40 hit, my 40 hit. I don't care if you let how step, I don't care if you let how rip, I don't care if you let how step, I don't care if you let how rip. I got sauce, I got flavor, getting all this paper. I got sauce, I got flavor, getting all this paper. Plain Jane Paddock on my motherfucking wrist. They notice every time when I walk up in this bitch. Post on walk up in this bitch, keep my Glock up in this bitch. Post on walk up in this bitch, keep my Glock up in this bitch. My chopper hit, my chopper hit, my 40 hit, my 40 hit. I don't care if you let how step, I don't care if you let how rip, I don't care if you let how step, I don't care if you let how rip. Doing something different, and I had to switch it up. Turned up in my section, every night we live it up. All my haters mad, but I don't give a fuck. All my haters mad, but I don't give a fuck. Doing something different, and I had to switch it up. Turned up in my section, every night we live it up. All my haters mad, but I don't give a fuck. All my haters mad, but I don't give a fuck. This shit is exciting. Do it with our right team. My style, they biting. I'm striking like lightning. I'm bagging this bitch. I'm talking my shit. I'm bagging this bitch. I'm talking my shit. I'm about to get on your ass. I'ma just count me some cash. I'm about to get on your ass. I'ma just count me some cash. Doing something different, man, I had to switch it up. Turned up in my section, every night we live it up. All my haters mad, but I don't give a fuck. All my haters mad, but